Big news. Marineland has announced that they're closing. What have we got to say? I was literally outside the park the day of the announcement of the rides going down. And I'm not shocked, to say the least. Even if what everyone is trying to predict is happening, I can't see a potential buyer really wanting to invest in the slate of rides that they had currently in place. Just looking at it from my financial standpoint and knowing, in particular, how many of those rides had functioned successfully over the years, it would make more sense, except for a few exceptions, to keep or to eradicate the park of the rides that are there in place. And by doing so, you also help eradicate the memory of what had gone on in precedent or preceding any new venture that could potentially open up there. So it's interesting, to say the least, what is going on. But I have my own perspectives, and that's why we're doing this, right? So I might as well share them. So I honestly don't, if I have to put my money on it, I'm going to have to say that you're not going to see another theme park opening up there. I just don't see it. I've talked to countless enthusiasts over the last couple of years, to be honest, that have all made it quite clear that they know someone that says that the park is being or has been sold. Or technically, if it had been sold, it would be very easy to find that out. So technically, it can't have been sold yet, at least as far as my understanding of passive lease or whatever. It's something along those lines. But the law is in place in regards to that. So as far as public records are concerned, I would say that would already be known. I already thought about this before, so before it even gets asked in the chat, that who would I potentially want to see if they did have a purchaser in place take over that area. And I'd have to say that my heart of heart says that I would want to see a Hershend / SeaWorld, probably equal for different reasons, look into the property, but you don't really have to include Busch Gardens, SeaWorld into that conversation. I think that was just an automatic, considering the experience that those parks have with that type of attraction. So yeah, I just don't see it happening. At least I don't really think that we've seen a Busch Gardens / SeaWorld. I'm just running it through my head, but yeah, we haven't seen them open a new park in quite some time. So I don't really see that happening at Niagara Falls. And not to segue too early, but at the same time, if you know Niagara Falls and you know the area, you'll know that it's not, you try to be as nice as you can, but you just can't help but fall victim to what you see and what the town is compared to, what only 70 years ago, 60 years ago was considered the romance capital of the world. You'd be laughed out of the room, or of the town at least, going there now expecting such, because it's not that at all anymore. I actually just was on the American side, and it's even worse than that. Like, I can't really imagine being a tourist coming from around the world. And this goes into Marineland in particular, but as far as the feasibility of opening up a park of the size that people kind of are anticipating or want to happen, I just don't see an investiture of that size coming to that area. And the main reason is because the rest of the area and the rest of what you experience in the Niagara Falls area, it's not something that you go home bragging about. I think it's probably it's few and far between the people that go and have a Niagara Falls experience, unless they do like a week and they do wineries and they're taking in the best hotels. and the best restaurants, which are few and far between, really, to be honest, in Niagara. As far as like accessibility, there are good restaurants, but they're kind of far flung. But and another segue is coming up. The Niagara Falls Park District, at least in the Canadian side, know this and know that the point that I'm getting at is that there's no real reason for you to stay in Niagara Falls as an international tourist for more than, say, a better part of an hour before you're like, okay, I think I've had enough of this. Like, I'm not that big into haunted houses, so what else is there for me to do here? When you think about like a large theme park, and the argument is all automatically going to be said, and I definitely would agree to this argument, at least from a positive standpoint, that by opening a park of a major size in the spot that Marineland was, you will draw a lot of international traffic that would have more of a reason to stay in the region than if they had essentially come there for the hour-long experience, expecting more, which I definitely would argue that you can do, because I've talked to numerous people in my daily working life about the fact that, oh, you're in town to go to Niagara, you should do this, this, and this. Like, no one really gives you a selection of the best things to do, which is incentivizing me to make that video, which is coming out for sure, because I just did a couple of final attractions, including walking to the States from the Canadian side. So look forward to that, another segue. But yeah, so when it comes down to, in general, with Marineland, I just don't see a large major investment coming. I wish we lived in the times of which that was a no-brainer. I want to be wrong about that guesstimation. The good people in the UK have been blessed enough to know that they have Universal coming to their shores finally. So that was kind of like an announcement that came out of nowhere until the land, when you look at the history of the land purchase of that particular site, yeah, definitely they had light of it a lot more in advance than, say, what we would be getting here if it were really going down. So by the time that land is sold, it would be known that it's going to be another major sort of park operator, because if it was like private investors or residential investment, that kind of thing, you'd see work on the property pretty much instantly as far as plans were in place, or at least like signage indicating that as such, pretty much from the get-go. So I have to say this the way that I was thinking about saying it, but this is a story about a town of fishes that every day were indeed, if not fed the best things in the world, were fed nonetheless. And even though they didn't have their freedom, a freedom that was touted to them by, I'm not here to make fun of anyone, so let's just say people that would rather be concerned with the well-being of fishes than their fellow mankind. Nothing to say wrong to their purpose. But now we have two parks in the span of a year, of which have fish aimlessly swimming in pools made for them that have no one that wants to take them out of their situation. So I can't say that their fight or their cause has worked out in the best outcome so far, and I certainly hope that it works out better in the short term. But it's not looking good because, yeah, like, you just got to say it for what it is. It's an ugly situation, and it's going to look a lot uglier, I think, very soon, because the park's duo namesake, or that's not quite the term, but its alternative version, let's just say, in France, has famously closed recently, and their core animals are Yeah, in a pretty perilous situation, let's just say. So if we have that going on here, it's just going to look a lot worse overall in the history of the park and the history of the picketing and the activism against the park. It's good, the result of it overall, to not have to worry about another park setting itself up as that type of attraction. But at the same time, it's left a legacy that just seems to now, even despite the park's demise, be ongoing for almost ever. So it's a permanent stain on Niagara in that regard, regardless of what people's opinion of the park is. So yeah, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate for the people that are no longer going to have employment at the park through those years. But yeah, it looks like it's over. I did have a conversation at the gate during my last visit, which was, I believe, 2 days before its closure officially. And the attendant did say that there was a buyer in place, but they didn't know quite what they had planned for the property. It was kind of like the unsureness of the answer, intimating that I hear it may be an amusement park, but I'm not sure. Which to me is like, well, if you're already at the amusement park working at it, you'd probably be very curious about whether or not it's going to continue in its current form or become something totally different, like a Walmart. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. It's not a great parcel of land in Niagara still. There's no natural traffic that's attracted to that area. It's far enough from the falls to not really make sense as a major attraction, despite the fact that it does have a major bus terminal located steps away from it, if not like a very short shuttle ride away. But that all being said, yeah, it's over. So the worst part about the whole situation is that no matter what, it looks like I have had my final ride on Dragon Mountain, which is not great. I wish I had at least known that beforehand, but that's getting increasingly to be the case with how these things go in the amusement industry. So, so we'll see what happens. Just sorry, looking at the comments here. So yeah, it's all done. Really what I have to say about it, though, is that it's a problematic situation for the Canadian amusement park goer, or the Canadian amusement park industry in general, or at least competition there within. Great for Darien Lake, but Niagara, and even on this recent visit, felt a little empty, not having that park to at least fill in a couple of hours of my visit, be it unfortunate for what it was or what it was still, even towards its later years. It's an interesting one, because despite not feeling great about going to the park, if you do go to the park, you know that there's a segment of the population, I'd say a large segment of it, that don't care as much about the issues surrounding the park as much as you would believe the general public does. That's all I can say to that. It's just the fact of the matter. So it's a conflictive history for sure that I have with it. I like being like at least amiable and cordial and objective in regards to the employees and the management and everybody there. I never had any issues other than my very, very, very first visit, but that's been covered many times. So yeah, it's unfortunate. RIP. Unfortunately, I'll never be able to experience that tunnel on Dragon Mountain where the temperature changes so rapidly as you're descending before the bow tie element. Really something legendary that it's kind of sad that generations to come will never be able to witness, and not only be able to watch videos like myself or my own, and other content out there and pictures of what that really spectacle of amusement really is. So it's gone now forever. Yeah, I don't think I really want to go back and visit the Dragon Mountain area without seeing it for what it was or what it was built for. Yeah, because it's fairly iconic, to say the least. So it just wouldn't feel the same being around there to see it. And I have seen content of stuff out there that hopefully one day will be able to be seen a little bit more in general. But some interesting work from people exploring the area recently, which for me is kind of like a dream thing to do. But having the channel, I try to stay behave as much as I can. I'll say that much. But probably not throughout this live, which won't spend the entire time talking about Marineland, but I'd say that's pretty much all I should have to say about it for now. I can't see many parks going in. Good timing on that question, but I can't see anyone going in to buy the rides, especially since they haven't been functioning for like a couple of years. I'd say the swings have a good chance of being sold. I don't think, unfortunately, I'd love to see it saved, but the flying carpet or the flying dragon, I don't think that's going to be saved. I'm going to take a slight drink because I'm getting dry mouth here. I can't see the Condor being saved. That hasn't run in like half a decade now. The Magic as well. I think that they did a lot of work on that to get it back up and running, and it was running tremendously the last time I was on it when it reopened. But I don't think the Magic will be saved unless somebody's sensible and buys it and puts it indoors, which would be a fantastic move, and maintain it as, if not elevate it as one of the best rides in Canada. If it were to stay in Canada, for that matter, I'd have to say Star Voyager, if that is indeed what it's called. I believe it's called Star Voyager. That is probably another likely to be saved ride, as it's quite new. Unfortunately, wasn't built into the park infrastructure. Probably a part of the deal to get that thing put in place, I would say, despite the manufacturer recommending that it not be built into the below grade, let's say. I think that was maybe some foresight by the manufacturer to be like, nah, you don't need to do this and don't need to spend that money because it's probably not going to be here for that much longer. So that would have been a very smart move, or a suggestion for them not to do so. So that way it can easily be sold and moved quickly to another park. Sorry about the camera stuff. It's very close. And I'd say, like I said at the top, within 10 years, we'll get the technicals worked out. So other rides, I don't know whether or not the Shot Tower will be saved, especially with the situation with SNS and the expense of like repairing those rides. And two of the towers, I think, would need significant repairs to bring back into service. And the existing one that functions, I think, would need some significant work or upkeep and maintenance just to get it back up into general service life to be reliable for a few years. And just the overall cost associated with moving, shipping, and then rebuilding that ride another location would not be cheap. So I don't know whether or not that will be saved. And there are other couple of rides like the children's rides and stuff like that. Some of those I definitely think easily could be saved. They'll probably be the first ones to be sold, to be honest. And then you'll have the bigger rides that no park seems to want to touch anymore. Unfortunately, that was part of the reason why I think a lot of them might not be sold. Okay, so that's what I think. And then, Dragon Mountain, it's a terrain coaster. It's a no-brainer. Everyone knows it's done. It's really like, I just hope the Roller Coaster Museum gets one of the trains, or at least the nose car from one of the trains, because it is one of the most iconic, if not beautiful, coaster trains ever to exist. Okay, camera issues already, as promised. So I think I got to the end of my Dragon Mountain comment, but that's a good segue to part 2, which is Alpen Fury. Now, I did visit the park yesterday. I was hoping to catch some test runs, and of course, it's been running like mad today, and I didn't manage to get those. So I'll make it brief, but at the same time, yeah, it's interesting to see the Alpen test runs. I got some things I want to say. I'm not gonna, like I said, poo-poo on the situation. I'm excited to ride the ride. Is it going to be similar in experience to some other? Yes, Dragon Mountain is going. I'm not always so negative on Wonderland, but I do think that they could have done a better. I like the Yukon Striker a lot, and I think that was a great addition. But I'm not so sure that this is going to be the one that everyone thinks is going to be the #1 ride in the park. That's for sure. I'd say it's going to struggle to be #4. I'd say that Vortex is in competition to be #2 right now with how it's riding. It's fantastic. It's still such an amazing ride. That elevation change and what it does to the overall ride experience and the speed in the latter half, it's just unbelievable. Alpen should be interesting. I think that if Wonderland, hopefully you get taught a lesson. Us in the Wonderland community have had enough. All right, Ali, if you are in the Wonderland community, then maybe if there was communication about what the problem is, then there wouldn't be such a poo-pooing situation, let's say. But I'm not so sure what they have issue with, because I don't really say anything that bad. And certainly nothing as bad as some of the influencers out there too. So it is what it is. So I will say, though, that it is not been that bad this year, oddly enough. It's actually been a pretty good time. It's not really about negativity. It's about realization of what's really going on in the park, which, like I said, isn't anything really all that bad right now. As one of the best ride offerings in any chain park in the world. And it's actually, if anything, most of the negative experiences that Wonderland experiences, for lack of a better term, are not the park's fault. So yeah, it's not really about the park being in such a bad situation. I'm kind of enjoying this Wonderland breakdown, because it's really not based on anything that I'm currently producing, but it's funny to read nonetheless. What was other things to talk about? Well, I said about the Darien Lake situation, which is fun. Siren's Cares is coming as well. But as far as content is concerned, oddly, yes, there is a major Wonderland video coming, which is actually a celebration of the park, which is somewhat coincidental. Sky Screamers 750. Yeah, I wouldn't mind buying a Ladybug coaster for $75K. It's kind of an iconic coaster in Canada, because it features in like almost every piece of advertising for Marineland, to be honest. So that's actually not true. I'll just say that because I'm actually in touch with every major creator. So that's pretty funny. So it must be a different community that you represent. I'll say that much. Because I know that the main creator, I was literally just within, I was right next to him while he was filming one of the most major videos. And yeah, we don't have any issues whatsoever. So it is what it is. All right. So anyway, you might want to wonder who's actually the negative person. I'll say that much. Being the Wonderland's most bitterest fan, and gladly thereof, I got a lot more to share, I guess. Because the only note I'll say with that is that I get thanked every day I go to the park by people for the content that I create. So at the same time, I just don't know. I don't know. You can't please everyone. So it is what it is. yeah, regardless of that, I'm thankful to YouTube for allowing there to be opinions, and thankful to everyone who supports as well, because there's a lot of work that I put into the channel, and I'd say we're at a transitional phase because, I'm not going to be producing more negative videos, but I'm going to be producing some more of the videos that I used to produce, which are, let's just call them, very subject specific, and way more sort of like in depth as far as their research is concerned and the subjects of which they cover. So probably going to toe the line between what is a attraction slash theme park focused channel, to what is to come, which is yeah, it's definitely going to be a different sort of world and mood, let's say, and way more higher production value, even more so than the crazy stuff that I try to put together now. But yeah, I think that's it, because we don't really have, I go and fix the camera, and I don't have anything left to talk about. I have a lot of stuff planned. And yeah, definitely some more architecture videos coming for sure. I'm hoping actually actually there's two that I already have in the can that are coming very soon. But I've talked about those before, and I'm just going to post them, and hopefully they're appreciated. But yeah, I have some interesting stuff planned, especially the Wonderland thing, which I'm going to be working on right now after the visit yesterday. Well, I'm going to wrap it up, because that is actually all I need to really talk about, was the Marineland little shindig, and farewell to it, unfortunately. Hopefully we get a park worthy, or more worthy, of its place in the near future. But we'll see about that. I'm not so sure it's going to happen, but at the same time, there's a lot more to look forward to, including Yeti Trek, Alpine Fury. And unfortunately, that's about it in Canada, and even in the region. Maybe not more if you go to Siren's Curse, but that's besides the point. We still at least have that to look forward to, and I look forward to covering for you very soon. And yeah, thank you for tagging along, guys. It's certainly been a little bit of a miniature exciting one. And that's what we always aim for.